Welcome, everyone, to NEC Now. I'm Ron Ratner with the Northeast Conference, and I am here with Erica Bardes and Mick Darcy from Central Connecticut Women's Soccer. We're going to talk the 2019 season and NCAA tournament today. First of all, Erica, Mick, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us, Ron.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's run down the resume for both of you. Let's start with you, Erica. First team All-NEC this past season, 5 goals, league high, 8 assists, 18 points, all New England, all region. So it was a big season for you, a junior defender from right here in New Jersey. We like that. And then Mick, 205 career wins, 6-time coach of the year, 8 NEC tournaments. The list goes on and on. You've been in the league about the same amount of time that I have, one of the best we have in this conference. So I'm looking forward to talking to both of you. Let's start with you, Mick. The 2018 season was a great one for Central. You run through the league undefeated. I think you were the 9th program to ever do that. 16-2-2. You go to the NCAAs again. Program wins another NEC crown. But coming into 2019, you lose your top 3 scorers. You lose Ashley Kavanaugh, 2-time goalkeeper of the year. Heading into this year, did you think that this could be a special team, or did you think this would be more of a work in progress team and maybe we peak later in the season?
No, I think we knew the team certainly had the potential to be special. The way the 18 season had ended down at Georgetown was pretty bittersweet. It was a great run that we'd had. Obviously, winning another NEC championship was fantastic. But we went down and played against an excellent Georgetown team that made it all the way to the Final Four. And, we were ahead in that game with 20 minutes left. And it was a difficult day to play good soccer. It was incredibly windy. And, we had most of the ball in the first half. They had most of the ball in the second half. But I think when the game ended, there was just that little bit sense of some unfinished business that wasn't the way that we wanted it to end. You never want to end with a loss, but you always want to be able to, play your best soccer on the on the day. And against Georgetown, I didn't think they were able to play the best. I didn't think we were able to play the best. So we felt a little bit shortchanged, I think, when we left there. And but I think that feeling at the end that we weren't necessarily happy to have a great year in 2018, that we wanted to go again, and that I thought drove us through the spring and gave us a great springboard to jump into 2019.
Erica, in the first game of the year, you take on Rutgers, who will become a familiar opponent this year. Roma scores early in this game. You're up for most of the game into the 70th minute. You wind up losing in overtime. Did that game give you confidence that Central could go out and just pretty much play with anybody?
Yeah, definitely. I think that, going into your first game of the season with, going against a Big Ten school, it was very exciting. And coming out, even though we did end up losing in overtime, I think it gave us a lot of confidence to move forward. And I think that we were disappointed in the result because we were ahead at first, but it definitely gave us a lot of motivation and excitement for the season ahead.
Throughout your non-conference season, Mick, there were lots of close games, ties with UConn, Seton Hall, a couple wins. How did you assess the state of your team heading into league play?
Well, it was a very disjointed non-conference season. We started off with that Rutgers game, as Erica was talking about, and we had a real good feeling, throughout that game, watching the game as it developed. Unfortunately, about 5 minutes into the second half, Tachibana, got knocked over and, did some damage to her elbow, and we lost Yo for, probably for the next month or so. Pretty soon after that, we started to just lose a lot of players. By the time we got to the Seton Hall game, I think we had 4 players left on the bench. So it was a ridiculous amount of small injuries that we had picked up. So we kind of, stumbled our way through the non-conference season. We were playing some players out of position. It was just very disjointed. So ironically, it kind of gave us an opportunity to experiment a little bit more with the team, to try some different things, try people in different positions. Players got to play who maybe necessarily wouldn't have got to play, but everyone else had been fully fit. So it rounded us out a little bit more. But the non-conference was tough. By the time we got to the first game against Bryant, we still had players out injured who were just come back. Finally had just come back. Roma didn't play in that game. Yo and Emily Hogan had been out for a long time. So, the Bryant game almost came like a week too early for us. We needed another week to get ready from there. So we felt good that we were getting players back, and we knew they all would be back within a week or so. But for that 3-4 weeks that there was players missing, it was pretty disjointed. Erica, I think, probably was the only person that that started every game all season for us. So it was different.
Okay.
So season starts. You have a tough overtime loss at FDU on October 3rd. From that point on, you do not lose a match for 50 straight days. During that time, those 5 shutouts, you only allowed 9 shots on goal total in those games. So did you feel, one, the team was locked in at that point, and 2, as one of the anchors of the defense, how is it like playing with Shawnee Altericio, who was a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year in this league?
Shawnee, I think, throughout all of the years that I've been at Central, gives so much motivation, and kind of she's just such a vocal leader, and kind of gives you so much energy, not only in the way that she speaks and kind of leads through vocals and everything, but also the way that she plays. Every tackle, every one-on-one, she always goes to the best of her ability. She's always really focused, really in it. And I think that's a huge motivation for the entire back line. You just want to, if you have that one person on your back line, your entire back line wants to play like that. And I think we have a really good system where it's pressure cover. And so when you have Shawnee, who's usually the one in the cover, it's you don't want to get beat again, because you don't want to have her do her job, but it's also nice that, you have her there to be by your side. And it's kind of a very big team. We're a little small team on our back line, so we have each other's backs. And I think that's why we were able to, have all those stats that you said, was because we try to have each other's backs and give each other that motivation to deny.
So you head into the postseason this year on a 7-game win streak. You're hosting it again in New Britain, which is great for the team. In the semis, you run into Sacred Heart. Erica, early in that game, you're in the box. I'm watching highlights yesterday, and you receive an unbelievable pass from, I believe it was Emily Hogan. Do you remember that goal? Can you take us through what happened there?
Yeah, a little bit. But so Em's always just been such a good distributor. And, when she's on the ball, she's going to do something with it. And so a lot of times as an outside back, it's do I make this run? Do I stay back? And, it's kind of that fine line between when to go and when to not. And so when Em gets on the ball, it's just, something special is going to happen. So just getting into that box, getting that back post run is something we've always worked on. And so it was just such a nice ball. There was no way I couldn't not give that to her, with all the work she did. So.
You're up
nice
in that game.
The pass came from Ali.
Yeah.
It was Ali, the right back, was the one that crossed the ball into the box, and then the great little flick from Emily. So it was a right back almost, to a left back, both inside the box, which was good.
Yeah, that's why it was so do I go, do I not? Because then if you have both your backs up at one time, that means you have 2 backs, left to defend. So it's critical to put that in,
After that beautiful goal, you're up 2-1 in the 60th minute. Roma plays the ball out to you in space outside, about 5 yards outside the box, and you just hit an absolute banger into the top of the top corner of the net. Erica, in this history of goal scoring for you, where does that one rank?
That one was pretty up there. Just the ball, you see the balls coming on the across the box, and I kind of do a stutter step because I was like, do I just hit this one time? Do I 2-time it? And so then I just ended up hitting it one time, and it just was kind of one of those feelings where as soon as it was off my foot, I just knew kind of thing, which was a relief because I can't tell you the amount of times I've hit posts this past season. So it was nice to finally get one that didn't ricochet off the post.
Mick, how much of a luxury is it to have an attacking back that can provide you with some offensive punch like Erica does?
It's great. I mean, it's always been how we want to play with our teams. We push our two outside backs forward a lot. We want to get them into the situations to where they're, crossing balls for the people to finish, or like Erica's first goal, just sneak in around the back post and put it away from there. So it's a risk. Anytime you push it forward or you push your defenders that far forward, but it's something. It's part of our philosophy and how we want to play. And Erica, before she came to CCSU, didn't spend a whole lot of time as a defender, but we recognize that she has that kind of killer instinct in front of the goal. She's capable of scoring goals, but she also had the traits to to make a great defender as well. So it's a good combination that she has.
We now head into the finals against a very good FDU team. In that game, Roma gets one in the 18th minute. So you're up 1-0. Erica, we go back to you in this one. Now you hit a screamer that does hit the crossbar in the second half. The similar kind of shot. Ball gets knocked around. Yo Tachibana gets the ball. The FDU keeper makes one of the best saves I've seen in a long time. So you have to sweat out this 1-0 win, but you get the title back to back. Mick, how satisfying was winning this game for you and your team?
Well, it becomes an all or nothing at that stage. Once you get to the final, it's you either win it and advance to the NCAAs or your season is over. So we knew FDU was the only team that we'd lost to. It'd been a great game that we'd played against them down at their place. Tough way it ended overtime. Ironically, you talked about the run that we had in hosting, but I'm sure Erica will be happy to tell you the story what I told the girls after the game down at FDU that we had no chance now of hosting because we tied the game and lost the game, and we were going to have to do it the hard way on the road, but they've proved me wrong, as they often do. To win it at home is a fantastic feeling. To win it against a great FDU side, very pleasing as well. But they pushed us the whole way. They've been a great rival over the last couple of years, and it's finals. Finals can be strange games. You never know how they're what the key moments, turning moments are going to be. The save Amanda Fitzgerald made from Yo Tachibana was great. I mean, at that stage, we were all kind of jumping up thinking the ball was in the back of the net. You expect when you play against FDU, you expect it's going to be a tough game, and it was. So, but to win it at home again, it kind of just it was a great way to to end that part of the season and propel us back into the NCAA tournament and back to what we talked about earlier, that kind of unfinished business with Georgetown.
Now comes the fun part. You're into NCAAs and you're headed back to Piscataway for the rematch with Rutgers. My question for you, Mick, is when the draw came out, were you happy with this draw because there was less of an unknown factor, whereas you've made, instead of playing a team that you haven't seen before?
Well, we've had some ups and downs in the NCAA tournament before. We've been very fortunate, to have gone. But when you draw the number 13 team in the country, it's going to be it's a tough matchup. But the beauty of it was that it was a familiar opponent, a field that we had played on, and not only had we played on it, but we played well, on the field. Yo was back. We knew we didn't have her in the first game, so that was or didn't have her for half of the first game, so we knew that was a positive. But I think we also knew that we were a better team in November than we had been, back in August when we were down there the first time. I'm sure that was the same for Rutgers too. But when you go to the NCAAs, it's a very quick turnaround. You go from the celebrations of Sunday to you're trying to figure out the logistics, how we're going to get there, figure out the hotels, do all that type of stuff. And at the same time, you need to come up with a good, scout to prepare to play in the game. So when you play against a team that you've already played against, half of your job is already done as far as that. So we knew what to expect from them. That Rutgers team was very good. And we're it shouldn't be, the fact that we knocked them out, shouldn't take anything away from the season that they had. But we knew what we would have to do to win, and came up with a good game plan and executed.
Erica, how confident was the team heading into that matchup?
I think we were really excited because, we knew that overtime loss was a tough one. And we kind of wanted to, Central's a small school. Rutgers is a big one. So we kind of wanted to prove to not only ourselves, but to everybody else that small school can do it too. And so there was a lot of excitement going into that game, a lot of hard work and preparation throughout the entire season. That loss was in the back of our minds the entire season. So when that name came up on drawing day, it was, a bit of excitement because, we would be able to go back there and kind of finish some unfinished business.
Okay, let's go. I want to talk about Roma for a second. We've mentioned her a few times. She's putting a lot of pressure on the Rutgers defense in this game. She has a free kick that hits the post in the first half. First of all, Erica, what is it like playing with a player of that caliber on a day-to-day basis?
You learn so much from Roma just by playing with her and, watching her. She is so creative on the ball, and so, she always kind of knows what to do with it, which is sometimes she'll get a ball that's like chest height and she'll be able to control it and bring it down like it was placed to her feet already. She's just she's like a little fairy. Sometimes I just don't know how she does the things that she does. So it's always so fun to watch her. But to play with her too, she's like Shawnee. She just makes you want to play the best that you can, so she can play the best that she can, because when she's playing the best, the entire team's playing their best. So she's definitely one of, if not the best players I've played with, and it's always so much fun playing with her. Even if it's just in like a possession game at practice or playing against Rutgers, it's always so much fun.
Mick, what's it like coaching Roma?
It's fun. I mean, it's, if you want to be a good coach, get good players. You want to be a great coach, get great players. And I think Roma fits into, the category of being a great player. I think her competitiveness is second to none. And Erica will attest this again. In practice, everything counts for Roma. It doesn't matter, if it's a 1v1 games, 3v3, 5v5, whoever it is, she wants to win every game that she plays in. And that carries over to the field as well too. But I think she's very much a team player as well. Probably what gets lost in all of this is that, Roma missed a big chunk of the back end of the season, through an injury. And, she came back and, played 15 minutes in the semi-final against Sacred Heart before, playing against FDU. But when she came back, she played out of position. We played her as a kind of a false number 9 center forward. Roma's an out midfielder, but we asked her, the team was settled at that stage, with Bree in the holding midfield role, and Yo and Emily Hogan both playing in the midfield. So rather than upset what we're doing, we asked Roma to go and play a different position. And she took that on. And even though I don't think that's her best position, her as a player, she embraced it. And, the run that we had in the postseason with the NEC semi-final, final, and the 2 games in the NCAAs, that was a good test of her character, just how she was able to embrace that and give everything for the team.
Rutgers had so much speed up top, and your defense in the first half, it's bending, but it's not breaking. And Amanda McQuillan's playing out of her mind in this game. You go into halftime 0-0. Being at the game, from my vantage point, your midfield was just as formidable and was going toe-to-toe at them. So you knew there was going to be some chances for you guys in the second half. What was your message to the team at halftime, Mick?
I think it was a positive, obviously, because we were doing the things that we needed to do. Jen Prozo, our assistant, she comes up with the scout on the opposition, and we were pretty clear as to how we thought Rutgers would play, and there was no changes. We knew what we were getting from them. They had a couple of injuries beforehand, and we weren't exactly sure who would play and who wouldn't play. But we had we figured their style of play and their tactics, and Jen did a good job of scouting them and getting us ready for for what to expect. So the game was unfolding the way we thought it would. We allowed them to have ball in their half of the field. We didn't really contest it from there. We allowed them to come to a certain point on the field before we started, Roma started to exert some pressure from there. So the game was playing out the way we wanted it to do. And it's, we talk about don't get confused with, possession doesn't mean domination. Possession just means that they have it and we're organized. And when they played the ball into the areas where it was dangerous, I thought our midfield did a real good job of cutting off, their supply lines into the forwards from there. And then when they did get the ball wide, we knew they had the pace, from there. And Ali did a real good job on the right side, and Eric on the left side, and then we got plenty of cover in behind from there. Amando had to make a couple of good saves in the first half. She made a phenomenal save in the second half. But the message at halftime was keep doing what we're doing. The chances will come, and we'll get one. We were pretty sure that we could get one against them, and then it was just a case of continuing to defend the way we had been.
So in the second half, Amanda, again, making some terrific plays, keeping the game scoreless. We're heading towards the end of regulation. Here's the good part here. We'll go to Erica. You get a step on your defender. You're coming down the left flank. You pass it to Tess Atkinson. You give and go with her. You get a step on your defender. Take us from that point on. What was going through your mind and what happened?
Well, so Tess played a phenomenal ball. If you see, it's like a needle through a thread. But it, so I saw that there was, same thing, they know the point. Anyway, so there's a defender kind of a step behind me. It's a defender to there's like 3 defenders around me. And all season, me and Mick and Jen have been working on making sure that my crosses go from, the near post, well, not from the near post to the mid post, but from the mid post to the back post. And even if a cross or a shot doesn't make it in the back post, somebody's going to be there. So Sid Dorman's, I'm pretty sure it was Sid Dorman, was making a run to the back post. So it was kind of if this doesn't go in, then Sid will get there. So a little bit of a Hail Mary there, but it worked out.
So it's a shot and a cross, not either one.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, a lot of people will say that it's a lucky shot, but when I was being recruited, there's a little clip that I sent Mick, which is a goal that I scored in club against his team, FSA, which is very similar to that goal, where I get it kind of a little bit outside the 18 on the side and cross shoot it, and it goes in against him. So it was a little funny kind of reoccurrence, I guess.
So standing on the sidelines, I was standing with your ex-athletic director. As soon as it left your foot, I had said to him, that's in. The ball goes in. The place is stunned. Like, the place is stunned. Your fans are going crazy. There's 1 minute and 42 seconds left to play on the clock. Is this, I'll go to Mick, I guess. Is this a long 142, or did you think, we got this, we did it? Or are you just sweating for 90 plus seconds?
Well, it's a long time. It's by no means was it over. I think that by the time the goal went in, Rutgers were certainly stunned. You could see them looking at the clock, and now what's their plan going to be? What do they change? I think at that stage they were already thinking about overtime and what maybe changes they might make when it gets to overtime. But then you've got pretty much 90 seconds to fix the problem. And as a coach, I've been on the wrong end of that too, and it's tough because you're looking to make 1 or 2 substitutions to get a few more attackers on the field, and then you become a little bit disjointed from there. So, from our perspective, it was let's keep our shape, let's clear the ball. But we've been in some of these tough games before, and obviously winning an NEC final 1-0. The last couple of minutes of that game, FDU were throwing everything at us. So when you've been in close games, you know how to to handle a little bit from there. So they dumped a few balls into the box. We won our headers. We got the clearances out. But it's there's been once or twice when I've been working out since, and I don't work out that often. When I do, I see about 90 seconds left to go. I think, okay, this kind of reminds me of the Rutgers game. I can get through this. But no, it's all hands to the deck, and we got it out. But it was fun. I think and Sean Kelly would be the one who kind of initiated this. But when the goal went in, and after the bedlam settled down, you could still hear Brass Bonanza, which is the song that we play at home with the old Hartford Whaler song. When you could hear that being played in the background, that was kind of one. Oh my God, this is really happening. We're going to win this.
So the game ends, you win. It's tremendous. Erica, you come back to your home state. You beat the Big Ten power, the school in your home state, being able to celebrate with your family's bands.
Yeah, it was really nice. I mean, my parents are like crazy, crazy supportive. They go everywhere. I mean, they come to every single home game, which is a 2-hour drive for them. They'll make the trip up Friday and then make it again Saturday. So, I mean, when we drew Rutgers, they were like, yes, like only 40 minutes, like awesome. But yeah, it was so nice to be, in my home state, and to win like that was just made me speechless. It was something I won't forget.
I won't forget it either. It's definitely a top 2 or 3 moment during my 20 plus years in this conference. It was so exciting. Mick, you're dancing and you're soaking in the moment at that point. I could see it in your face. How happy were you for your players, your school, and your program to be able to pull off what you did that night?
Yeah, really just so proud for the players, for the university. It was, it had been a while since we'd won an NCAA game, and I know they don't come around that often. And the first time it happened, it was all a little bit of a blur. It was great that you were there on the night and documented it in so many different ways, because the first time when we won against Boston College, we don't have a whole lot of we have memories, but not too many photos and a blurred video from then. But it was one of the things, probably a little bit of experience, on my end. There was no rush to get the team off the field at the end. I wanted them to soak it up, to enjoy it. I wanted them to take all the photographs they wanted to. Rutgers at that stage had moved on, so we wanted to be respectful to them, and it was their field. And like I said, I do think that they have a wonderful team, wonderful program. I know their coaching staff well. But when they left, I mean, we made sure that we enjoyed ourselves on the field, and we took all the photographs that we wanted, and just soaked it all up, because they're special moments in your life, and they don't come along that often. And I wanted to make sure that we absolutely enjoyed it. But for me as a coach, very proud of our players, of our staff, our university. Where, as Eric alluded to, we're nowhere near along the lines of a Big Ten school as far as the support and all that. But at the end of the day, you put 11 players on the field, you put your substitutions on, and you go for it, and you're able to go toe to toe. And every now and again, the underdog wins, and so it was a special night to enjoy.
Mick, you mentioned the win back in 2003 over Boston College. That was the first NCAA win for Central Connecticut at the D1 level in any sport. How did this win compare to that one for you as a coach?
Yeah, like I said, probably the difference in the experience of being able to enjoy it a little bit more. I think back in 2003, I think we scored like in the 59th minute, I want to say. I could be wrong, but close to that. So you ask how long 90 seconds was, compared to 30 minutes. There was a bit more defending that night up there. But it was we talked about it a few weeks ago on another call, but it was a freezing cold night, and there just wasn't a whole lot of people up there. But yeah, I mean, it was just, that was a moment where we felt, okay, that we've arrived, that we can play with anybody now, back in 2003, and it kind of gave us the foundations to build the program on. And, we had a couple of rough years, in 2011, 2012, and we bounced back in 14. I think we've been pretty consistent, since then. So it's what we're looking to do in a program. We want to keep that level of consistency there. You won't always win the NEC championship. We never take that for granted. It's a special moment. The fact that the likes of Erica now has picked up 2 championships is phenomenal. There have been some great players who have played in the Northeast Conference who've never won a championship. So we don't take that for granted at all. But you learn to enjoy and appreciate it, and smell the roses, or whatever expression you want to put on it, because it doesn't happen for everybody. And it's after the game, but we had all the players just write down just their thoughts on the evening, and I wanted them all just to document it. Probably the days of keeping a diary are gone for a lot of people, but I wanted the players to remember, how they felt that night, and what it meant for them. So it's something that they've all kind of documented, and we'll open it up again at some stage and look back at it and remember how it really felt.
That's awesome. Your season comes to an end at West Virginia, a 50-50 game. You fall in double overtime. Definitely you had your chances in this one. Mick, at the end of the season, it comes to an end, and it's always that finality is tough for a coach, and for you, Erica, as a player. What will be your lasting memory, Mick, of this group, the 2019 team? How would you describe this version of your team?
I think it's a team who kind of really believed in themselves, and that's we want to instill that confidence in our team early on, and get them to appreciate who they are as people and as players, but also what their teammates are capable of as well. And it was it would have been easy on this team to give up a little bit at certain times during the course of the year with the amount of injuries that we had, and you start to feel sorry for yourself, and maybe just this isn't going to be the year for us. Maybe, last year where we didn't have a whole lot of injuries was, allowed us to, have a little bit more success. But when, when small things start to go against you and people start to pick up injuries and a couple of concussions and all that, you're like, okay, it would be easy to say no. But, this team dug deep, and it wasn't about the 11 players that started, in the NEC final or the Rutgers game or the West Virginia game. This was a team that dug deep into its roster to find a way to get through games, and we had a lot of ties, but we made sure we didn't lose games. And I thought often go back to the Bryant game, and we played well down at Bryant, but we were missing a lot of players in that game. But it was important not to lose that game, as opposed to necessarily to go out and win that game. And we had to dig deep, because it was a very good Bryant team. It didn't lose a game in the NECs until the semi-final. But we found a way, and that became our motto during the course of the year. I'd read the Diane and Nyad book, the swimmer, the long distance swimmer, and I started to share that book with the team, and we took some lessons from there, and that was our motto throughout the season: just find a way where we may not be at 100%, but we'll work our way through it, and that's probably what I remember about this team, that when faced with adversity, they bounced back and accepted the challenge and went about their business from there. Didn't look for a whole lot of sympathy when things weren't going away, and just got down to business.
All right, now let's transition. 5 months later, we head into something just as big as March Madness. It's called NEC Madness. We start an online voting campaign with the best moments in NEC history since the turn of the century. Central Connecticut winds up with 4 teams in different brackets, and Mick, you have a couple here. So we start, and it's fan voting. For those who may not know, we go through the fan voting, and in the quarterfinals, you're immediately pitted against the FDU bowling team. That's the only team to win a national championship in our league's history. But your social media presence is out there, and you knock them off. So were you and your teammates, were you like getting family members and friends to go out and vote?
No, I've got no idea who voted for us. Erica, I'll let you take that one.
Yeah, definitely. We just kind of all were like, get everyone to vote. So just sending it in any group chat, kind of just because we want, that it was such a special moment for us, and we just kind of, I guess, wanted it to be recognized, beyond us. And so, yeah, it was just like, I have a cousin's brother, sister voting for you kind of thing. It was like, oh, cool. Like, but yeah, it was really awesome to see the support that we got throughout that entire couple of days.
You go on in the semifinals, you knock off the Central baseball team from 2019, and that was an awesome team. Then's the final against the FDU Elite Eight team. I think I'm the only person to see games from that run from FDU and see you guys win. So I know how good that FDU team under Seth Rowland was. They have big fan support as well. And in true Central Connecticut fashion, you are losing the vote most of the day. In the last few hours, you come from behind over 1,700 votes. You win, I think it was 52 to 48%. I know this is all just pretend, Mick, but does it say pro built that you've received so much support from people in and around the program and alums?
It is. I mean, we've got a pretty good fan base. I mean, you come to the games during the regular season, even on Friday nights, we usually get over 1,000 people or so at the games. The local rivalries when we play in UConn, we've had over 2,000 people at the game. So we've got a good local, fan base that come out and watch the games. But yeah, it really was just a bit of fun. I mean, that's, Seth's had a couple of great teams down there, and it's almost a little bit cheeky, when you beat a team that went to the Elite Eight. But I've no doubt they had a bit of fun with it as well. And you're looking at coaches and you're looking at players who have all competed at a very high level, and love the thrill of victory, and really hate the taste of defeat. And we haven't had a way to channel that in the last couple of weeks. So this was a little fun game to kind of go out and and try and win. And a lot of people kind of bought into it, and it was fun. It kind of got not so much got the team together again, because we've been doing a lot of stuff together anyway, but it was just nice to be able to put all our energies towards one goal.
Excellent. Let's switch gears for a second. Erica, you're one of my favorite kind of student athletes because you are a true student athlete. 3.9 plus GPA. You won the NEC Scholar Athlete Award for women's soccer last fall. How much does something like that mean to you?
Yeah, it means a lot. I mean, both my parents have always emphasized, getting a good education and being a good student, because, you are a student before you're an athlete, and Mick has instilled that in our team as well. Kind of always pushing us to be the best students and athletes we can be. And so going into college, it was kind of just a goal of mine to, be the best student that I could be. And I look up to my older sister a lot, and she had a 4.0 at one point in college, and I was like, yeah, I want to do that. And then, it's kind of just a balance that I've learned throughout playing club soccer and going through school, was that you have to do both, and I try to do both to the best of my ability. So
going back to soccer, Erica, you're headed to your senior year next year, or this fall. What should we expect from the 2020 version of the Blue Devils?
I think that we always want to do better. We always want to, beat ourselves in a way. So I think that this coming preseason and this coming spring, we're just going to put all of our effort into being the best team that we can be. I know that all of us kind of have the same mindset, and even just seeing how we were practicing in the spring, like each practice was highly competitive. We're a very highly competitive group. And then adding whatever new freshmen we have coming in, I'm sure that that's going to spread to them as well, because each new group that comes in kind of adds a little something different. So it's going to be exciting to see how they fit in with the team, and just bringing a lot of hard work and motivation to this next season, I think, is what 2020 will have for us.
Okay, I have one more question left. This is for Mick. Mick, you've been, you've been with Central Connecticut for 2 decades now. What is it that makes Central Connecticut such a special place?
Oh, it's without question, it's the people. It's just wonderful people. Students, staff, around the campus. There's a blue collar mentality to the to the university, and it's one of the themes that we play off as a team, is that we kind of embrace the hard work from there. But it's wonderful people, and it's hard to articulate exactly what that means. But it's very down to earth. People are very straightforward with you. It's people care about you. I think that's, from athletics point of view, I think we go well beyond athletics. I think there's a genuine care for the well-being of people, and not that it's not like that other places, but I think it's just a down to earth. It's a simplicity to the school that we kind of look after each other, and it's just a blue collar, blue devil mentality.
I love it. Well, first, thank you so much. This was a blast. I enjoyed walking down memory lane from this past season with both of you. I look forward to seeing what the future holds for the Central Connecticut women's soccer program. My thanks, Mick. Thanks to you. You're one of the class acts in this conference as a coach or administrator. And Erica, you were one of the outstanding student athletes that make us proud to do what we do. So I wish both of you, I hope you're both safe and healthy, and we all get to the fall and we get back on the pitch and start playing again. So thanks for joining us.
Okay. Thank you, Ron. Appreciate it. Take care.
All right, this is Ron Radner, and this was NEC Now with Mick Darcy and Erica Bardes.